Interest rate forecasts, geopolitical uncertainty, valuation resets, that's a heavy tone in the industry. Yet 83% of asset managers are confident with industry growth over the coming years. So what do you think is driving that sentiment, and how would you describe the sentiments in the US, and then are you seeing that translate into deployments?
Yeah, I would certainly say that we're seeing that translate into deployment. What I would say is there's a significant amount of institutional investor confidence in the US. We also see retail confidence in most sectors, but when you look at deployment, we see deployment across all verticals. So we're seeing deployment in real assets or real estate, including infrastructure. We see it in PE, VC. From a private credit standpoint, believe it or not, even though what you hear in the media is a little bit negative on private credit, we still see a significant amount of institutional capital flowing into that private credit side of the house. So I think that the sentiment around institutional investors is still really great.
Yeah, I think when you also think about just the capital flows, that even with the uncertainty and the volatility that we're seeing today, people are still seeing pretty good returns, and they're seeing flows of capital that are just coming in. The question is really around placement of that capital, but the flows are still very strong.
So beyond that sentiment, we see structural shifts happening in the industry, from democratization of private assets to AI transformation. What do you see as the major trends, maybe 2 or 3, that will reshape the industry over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, well, the first one that comes to mind is AI. You can't have a meeting without somebody discussing AI or how it'll transform the front office, middle office, and back office of the asset manager or the advisor. So I certainly think that that'll be the number one topic of discussion. I think from a product standpoint, or almost from a political standpoint, what we're seeing is the democratization or the retailization of private capital, and that will be transformative. And we're really excited to see where that goes, and it will be in all of the verticals.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we're seeing is a large trend that's reshaping everything, is that the institutional investors, while they're investing at a nice rate, that's starting to slow. And that's causing the asset managers to look to where the flows are coming from. And they're finding the wealth management section to be particularly attractive. And as they do that, that leads to the retail product, but leads to a host of other products that we're really seeing happen. And as a result of that, we're also seeing some consolidation. We expect industry consolidation to continue to occur.
And we certainly see significant industry consolidation from the top players buying middle market players in those verticals that they don't currently have in their suite of services.
So in private markets specifically, private equity, real estate, infrastructure, where are you seeing the most activity and innovation, and what's driving it?
I mean, I think we see innovation in all of those verticals. I think the verticals that are really hot, as you see infrastructure, I think we'll continue to see that as you think about data centers and other areas of significant interest. We also see different structures in the private credit vehicles themselves in other ways to increase the return or increase the amount of income that flows up through the private credit vehicles. And then private equity will be hot. Private equity has great returns, and also those venture cap funds that are investing in things like defense tech or other hot sectors will do really well. Another area that we didn't talk about is digital assets. I think we'll continue to see digital assets do significantly well. There will be flows into digital assets.
So I think another area that innovation is really occurring is on the operational side, and I'll give a little more detail. What you're seeing is these liquid products or semi-liquid products, but with less liquid asset classes. So you have a natural mismatch. So you have to manage that mismatch. So what we're seeing is we're seeing a good amount of basic innovation and operations and coming up with creative solutions to manage that. And I find that to be particularly interesting. And what will drive the growth of those products is that operational excellence.
So gentlemen, can you share with us your perspective on why asset managers located in the US are considering more and more Luxembourg to build their presence?
I mean, it's very simple. If you want to be a global player and have assets from across the globe, Luxembourg has to be part of your strategy.
Yeah. I would also say that as the wealth management sector becomes a greater growth engine for asset management, Luxembourg is a great place to access the European wealth market. And so it's just critical to global asset managers.
Thank you. On our side, what we see more and more is actually players going the extra mile and starting to use Luxembourg not only as a place for fun, but also being a place where they actually locate their center of excellence and then develop different branches so that they can be present all across Europe, having people on the ground in different countries to be able to sell their products, but that's also making deals on the ground. Going the opposite way, what could be the things that your clients mention as potential blockers or misconceptions that they have where it comes to thinking about moving outside of the US and coming to Luxembourg?
Yeah, and I would say misconception is probably the right way to frame it. I think that there continues to be some misconceptions around cost and regulatory burden. And what I would say is that has really changed over the past 10 years, and it's become less costly. And if you have the right team to shepherd you through the process, it is an excellent place to be.
And if you think about that, just how quickly Luxembourg adopted the AIFMD passport is just proof positive of how innovative and thoughtful Luxembourg is when serving the industry.
Good, so that's actually true that we hear a lot nowadays that our clients are thinking about the cost of running a business because we know that margins are getting tighter. This is our role at KPMG to make it seamless for them to come here and implement their business. And certainly you're right, like having the price and the cost to build a platform in Luxembourg has nothing to do nowadays compared to a couple of years ago because the whole industry has gone into an autopilot mode.
Yeah, and just to add on there, if you are thinking about exploring Luxembourg, we have an amazing team both in the US and here in Luxembourg to be able to shepherd you through the process. And we could not be more excited to be here today.
Agreed. Thank you very much for that.